guys, thank you again for joining us. Hopefully this is not going to cut in and out. I had a lot of requests from you guys last week, trying to get the quality of the video up and up. So this is as high frame rate as I can get it, along with the highest that I can see from here. So I can see there's a little bit of lag. I do apologize for that. You'll have to bear with us. Otherwise, if this is getting to be too bad, if the lag is too bad, just let us know immediately, and we'll have to take down the broadcast and then bring it back up. So, okay, good, excellent. So, as you can see at the very top of the page, over on, well, nope, there you go. Up there, happy Mother's Day to all. Thank you, Tola Div, and happy Mother's Day to everybody who's out there. And thank you for joining us. We have a couple of goodies we're going to be showing you tonight, along with a few surprises. So, oh good, refreshing and all seems well. Fantastic. So I'm just going to go up here, see who's online. A. Carl Berg, Easy Wards, Jan Nguyen, Rich Zero MD, Tola Dib, you Alice, and you beautiful lurkers who are out there. Thank you very much for joining us. So, okay, let's see. So tonight, you're probably wondering what's been going on here at HYREL. Well, there's not a lot of printers in this room as of right now because we've actually shipped quite a few of them this past week. So if you're looking to get your printer, it's going to be very, very soon you're going to be able to get your hands on one. So
Only about 2 more minutes.
Okay, Carl needs roughly about 2 more minutes. So there have been quite a few changes. So those people who are not familiar with what's going on, you're probably asking yourselves, well, what's up with the new System 30 in? And you'll notice that we have gone to an all tabletized version. So we may have showed this on a couple of the older broadcasts, but I'm just reiterating a couple of things for those people who are out there who are wondering, hey, I got a System 30 with a different touch screen from what you guys have. Well, a full tablet goes up here now, and the best part about this is that in the future, if you ever wanted to upgrade your machine, you can definitely do that as well. That's what I get for driving with the window down. Okay, should have restarted. All right. Okay. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Okay, good. Seems better now. Thank you guys. Thank you for bearing with us on this. So there's only so much we can do with the technology that we have. So, all right. Very nice. That looks good. All right. So we're ready for you.
Hi everybody. How you
Okay.
doing tonight? Is it going better now?
Yeah.
Good. So welcome back to our broadcast. And we're working on so many things all the time, but eventually some of it gets finished. And right now we wanted to share with you a few of the things, milestones that we've reached.
Mm-hmm.
Several of you have bought the laser and wondering when your laser is going to arrive. The laser's been finished for quite a while. We've actually have some that we're all finished up, ready to go, but in discussing with our partners in China, we decided that they should be shipped with safety glasses, because we know that how inconvenient it is for you guys to go and find a pair of safety glasses. Plus, you just got your new toy, you want to play with it, but there's no safety glasses, so what are you going to do? So each and every one of the units will come in a box, and you can see it like this, and you'll notice that there is a pair of safety glasses. And please treat these like gold. There was no additional charge to those people that purchased them so far. These run $150 retail. Now we got a good supplier of them, so we're able to do a much better price than that. But if you'll notice, there's a slight tint to these. These are 808 nanometers specifically. They block light from 700 to 900. And if you don't mind, they make you look very stylish in a, what is the right word? In a Red Baron sort of way. A little scarf action, and you're flying down the plane.
I was going to go with more mad scientist.
So I recommend you use these the first, while you're getting used to using it, and then you'll realize, what's a safe environment, what's a not safe environment. And if you have any kids,
yes, absolutely,
have to wear them. Okay. Us old people, we can see with one eye because we don't use both of them anyway. We're not smart enough, but. Make sure and teach them proper laser safety, because they're going to deal with other lasers in the near future that will not be so forgiving. And when that happens, we don't want their bad habits that are formed now to cause health problems later. Okay? So it comes in a beautiful little carrying case, and first batch are on their way to those guys that were smart enough to buy them quick.
Yep.
The other ones, we've got another batch of a dozen more coming in that they were all made up, and I don't know what the story is on who's been buying them. But anyway, so that's a quick one up on it. Next thing I wanted to pass by is that a lot of people have been building on the printer, and a lot of you know that in a perfect world, a nice, warm, cozy, dry environment gives you the best results.
Yep.
And from the very beginning, we designed the printer thinking, someday, if we're lucky, we'll seal this sucker up. But I don't think you have to seal it up. So now we've reached a point in maturity where we're saying, let's get this thing integrated. And so Maker Joe was looking online with us, and God bless you, Maker Joe. He found us something made by a fine German company called Stego. And of course, as with all German companies, the price tag reflects it. But we were able to find an alternative supplier, and this is the net result. So for those of you that wish to go online and purchase said device directly, eBay carries one or other. We'll be having these available. Actually, we won't sell them directly, but we have the same people that are doing the lasers have told us that they would be happy to go ahead and sell these to people on a third-party basis. And so this is a 400-watt heater. It takes about 15 minutes to install if you're slow and methodical. It takes about 5 days to install if you're quick and don't read the instructions. Okay. So at the same time, I've gone ahead and integrated the controls in this next release of software, so you will be able to see and monitor and chart the temperature inside the bell chamber. Now, we've made several prints and found that there was definitely an improvement at 50 degrees centigrade. Now, this particular unit is 400 watts, and it's quite easy to just seal the back up. We do not recommend running the bell chamber above 55 degrees C. We've tested it there, and other than the heated bell platform itself, we have no issues, and we have a solution for the heated belt platform. It turns out the connector on the heated belt platform is just not as advertised, I guess is the best way to put it. So we were sold at the 105 degrees C working temperature. The cables work great. They're polyimide. They have no problem with that. But the connector tends over time to bow. And for the unlucky few of you that have actually encountered it, your cable will eventually not make contact, and all the current goes through one conductor, and then the smoke comes out of the cable. So what we've done is we've gone to directly attaching the cables with no connector. The cables are being soldered directly to the hotbeds. and we're in the process of testing that. After 2 weeks or so, we'll probably offer that as a standard solution because it seems to be the best, most durable solution for the aluminum build plates that we're currently using. That has nothing to do with some new ones that are still being worked on in a couple of different countries by 3 different groups. But I haven't received a solution that we think is a quantum leap forward, and I'm not going to jump from one mediocre solution to another mediocre solution. So again, the heated build platform, the chamber, 55 degrees C, no problem. And the 400 watts that this puts out actually balances quite nicely with the volumetric load and also the normal dispersion of heat from all the sides. At 55C, you can put your hand on the outside. It is warm to the touch, but it's not going to hurt you. You can leave your hand there. You know, it feels jacuzzi warm. It doesn't feel like I'm going to sue you because you spilled your McDonald's coffee on my lap hot. You know, it's fine. So there you go. Let's see. I have another little thing to share. Tonight's broadcast is going to go fast. It's Mother's Day. You mind passing me over the COD light lens?
Yep. Did you?
And the Emo 25.
Absolutely.
So we've been working with some people who I've given some earlier versions to, but this is a standard Emo 25 without the motor driver on it. I just brought it over for you guys. So this is the working end of it, and the tube goes in here. And this is the latest UV. Each one of these is 3 watts, so you get about 9 watts, up to 9 watts of UV light. I can purchase these at different frequencies for the type of material. These particular ones are 365 nanometer. So they mount actually right in the holes that are in the standard gripper now. And so we have a little standoff that goes in there, and then it stands off a little bit, and your tip and nozzle just goes right in, and it just fits perfect. So the idea is that you will be able to get and flood with UV light. Now we have a couple materials that are really exciting. One is an RTV that's cost about the same as gold, but it cures in under a fraction of a second, as in, I shouldn't say under a fraction. What's a fraction, right? Under 1 second. So literally it will get stiff while dispensing it on the fly. Sounds very useful. And we also have many resins that fire off at this, and we're looking at some other materials that are actually clay aggregate or polymer clay aggregates that fire off with this kind of light as well. So more and more material science is being done, not so much by us, but by some really smart people. And one of them is a very nice professor in Mississippi who has truly opened our eyes to some new techniques and new technologies. I'm hoping, I think long term he's going to be very successful at what he's doing. One thing on the heater, we've made a little board that mounts, and it has a solid state relay and a mechanical relay, and when you push the emergency button it disables the heater as well. We're trying to stick with normal commercial standards there. Normally if you hit an emergency button it removes all heated devices and all motion devices from operation. That's because we don't know why you're hitting the button, but makes sense. If there's a fire, we'd like to turn it out.
Oh yeah.
Just conceptually speaking. Anyway, let's see what we've got. Looks like we've got some people up here.
Yeah. So Jan Wynn, let's see, says, will our new System 30 already be soldered?
Yes.
Okay. Alice asks, how does the heater avoid infringing on the Stratasys patent?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, we're not providing the heater, so we don't worry about it. But the other thing is that the first of the heated build chamber patents is gone, and we're not sealed up yet. We're just raising the environment and monitoring it. Our software will monitor it for you, which is the big deal.
Oh, how are you doing at SDDS? Let's see, Rich 0MD. I'm guessing if it even came close, third-party seller would get around it.
Yeah, they're welcome to go to Vietnam and sue them if they want. I don't know what to tell them. I think they're better off focusing on improving their equipment so it continues to be a market leader. That's what I would do if I were them.
Yep.
So, there's nothing stopping anybody. We have several people who have gone and got a little foot warmer and heated up their build chamber. We have some major companies that have done the same thing. And it depends on the material you're using. Some material doesn't like the heat. Trust me. You do not want to use a heated build plate chamber with plasticine.
No.
Can you say Gumby all over the place? So it's not a good deal. So ABS people are going to definitely find an improvement.
A marked improvement.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, what you're going to see is the lift off that's taking place is much less pronounced. The top comes out really flat too because there's a lot less stress on it. So it helps. It does help to relieve the residual stress. It's amazing what just 20 or 30 degrees centigrade makes it that much difference. We did not expect that, but it truly does make a difference. Part of it might be because of the glass transition temperature and elastic properties changing at those temperatures. So, good. Trying to think if there's anything else of mind-boggling importance today. We're trying to get over the warm weather.
Yeah. I'll say absolutely. That would be absolutely terrible with plasticine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally just
melts.
pours out at that point.
Yeah. Which, if you guys are also using plasticine right now with the EMO 25, you probably figured out not to turn on the heated build platform as well, because then it becomes a goopy runny mess. So, Rich Zero MD, I seriously must have the touch, yet I've yet to have any corner lift with this printer.
Where is he located? Is he in the desert?
So,
I think he's got the touch.
Yeah, he does have the touch. So, awesome. ERS DDS, does it affect fan cooling speed since ambient changes? That's a good question. That is a very good question.
Proportionally speaking, we haven't seen much because you're talking 180 degree differential versus 150 degree differential. It's not that big a deal, but it will have some small effect on it for sure.
Yeah. And for those people who are probably wondering what the temperature is in this room right now where we are at, so that you guys, and the way we normally print with everything, here you go. So right now we're at 25 degrees C and 47% humidity.
Yeah, that's Atlanta.
That's Atlanta. So 55 degrees C, and we said 30 degree differential between 180 and 150. There you go.
We must be sweating. The humidity just went up.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we've done. We have ordered temperature and humidity sensors. Midnight Manufacturing is nice enough to point some in our direction.
Thank you.
And so those will be implemented as standard on everything. So where they go is right underneath the build platform in the front of the printer. Which here, I gotta go here. I can show them right here.
Okay.
It'll go right here underneath. And so that's a pretty good sampling since it's pretty much dead center of the whole build chamber.
Yep.
And that's the part that we will control/report to.
Yes. Jen, when asks, are there some test prints with the heated chamber that you can show us? Are they on John's desk?
I've got one upstairs. I was showing off I don't know where the one that didn't work, the one that we were testing that was the bad one. That's the thing I don't know.
Oh.
Here, I'll go grab one. Do some hand puppets. I'll be right back.
Okay. Perfect. So, all right. So, fan cooling, even inside of a heated build chamber, does matter, and it does matter quite a bit. ERS DDS. To go back to your question. So, the reason for that is because the fan cooling by itself not only cools off even the smallest amount, it helps the cooling go a lot faster on the ABS and the PLA when it comes out of the actual nozzle. So if you watch this actually come out, and we've done a couple of time studies and also temperature studies, as the material comes out on the platform, we've noticed that the cooling by itself hardens the material, and when it hardens the material, especially when it comes to some of the smaller pieces, you get much better continuity on the actual verticality on the actual walls when it goes from one layer to the next, and the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So much so that if you're going to be doing something that's very, very small, and I stress this, you're going to be doing something that is lengthwise is going to be roughly about 3 inches in length on the actual travel on the X and Y before it gets back to the original position. You're going to want to slow it down. You're going to also want to increase your cooling to roughly about 60%. Anything more than that, and we found that a lot of the cooling that's out there from the original, let me grab these guys to show you. Like anything more than 60%, if you have, this is one of the newer nozzles, if you have got one of the older ones, it will cool off the tip, and when it cools off the tip, unfortunately it won't print as fast. So you will have to slow it down just a little bit on those particular prints that are very, very small. But if they're just small like this and they go over here and do another part, do another part, do another part, do another part, as long as you have roughly about 30 seconds worth of leeway time between each particular one, you're going to be very, very, you're going to be very, very happy if you've got more than at least 30 seconds. If you have any more, if you have any less than that, it's not going to work as well. So please keep that in mind. So great question though. So, okay. Do I need to break out the inspector?
No, I think they can see this.
Okay. All right.
So, one of our new customers was miserable because they were trying to print a block, and they would get halfway through it and the block would lift off. So this is a sample of the block right here. It's a simple block. It's 1 inch square and about 4 or 5 inches long. So what was happening was they didn't want to use the Devo pads. I don't know why, but probably they just thought it could be done without it. And the early blocks that they gave had huge lift off in the corners, and you were looking at well over 1/8 of an inch of bow here on each end. So we ran the same exact code. Yeah,
that's a Devo pad.
Yeah.
Okay. There.
Yeah. Here. Let's. So typically when we make larger parts, for those that are getting new, I know all you guys out there know this, these are Devo pads, and it's just one layer thick of material, and it anchors the corners and keeps them from lifting off during the build.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to trim them, which, you know, it's a little bit of a nuisance, but it's not as much of a nuisance as losing your build. All right. Like something like this will take about 3 minutes to clean up.
Yep.
A lot quicker than machining it. All right. So the first thing we did was we looked at the infill, and I think this is actually a little bit of a notice for everybody. I'll see if I can get that where you can see it. Almost hit it. There we go. Come on.
There we go.
All right. This is supposed to be a honeycomb, but when we looked at it, it was some kind of a hybrid, Hilbert or something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was causing some extra stress strain. But nonetheless, once we raise the temperature, you will see just how straight those guys line up. Well, you would see them better if I would actually hold them. That one's got the bumps on here. So that is actually a couple of surfaces mating together, and they are very flat. I can't quite hold them all the way for you because I can't get them even enough. But they are, I mean, if I put a flashlight behind them, you will see the smallest of cracks between them. So they're quite straight. And I will hold that one like right up to the camera.
You have to put your hand up here. Unfortunately,
there we
if it's
go.
in the center of the camera, then it will automatically
I'll see if I can
refocus.
get that to go.
So up. You gotta go up even higher.
Okay.
Right in the center.
So you can see those are pretty straight on both sides.
Yep.
Now this one, the one here on this surface, oops, wrong surface. On this surface, woo.
So go ahead.
The computer just went down. On this surface over here, this is the side that was laying down. So there was a slight amount of bowing, but it was very, very minuscule. There, that'll give you an idea. And as you can see, the top was absolutely pristine. Anyway,
yep.
So, you know, what can I tell you? We measured it, actually. Yeah, grab some calipers. We'll just see how consistent it was. We have to be careful not to measure the first layer where it mushrooms a little bit. But
these aren't the best calibers, but they'll work.
okay, so believe it or not, this is an inch part. Must be made in America. So it's supposed to be 1 inch. It's 1.005. And well, that one says 0.997, 1.002, 0.994.
That's a good question, ERS DDS.
0.992. So you're within 10 thousandths of an inch of the target goal. Actually, you're within 8 thousandths anywhere. So for a block that's pretty big with all the shrinkage factors and peeling it off, I'm not going to complain about that.
Nope.
So if you want more precision than that, get a CNC.
Well,
I think these were either 200 or 300 micron layers.
yeah.
I have to put the glasses on to tell you. Those look like 200s to me. What do you think? They're certainly not 400.
No, these are actually 300.
Are they 300?
Because this is 200.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big difference between 200 and 300.
Yeah. Okay, that was a 300 micron.
Yep.
This is a part we've been making here. We ran out of them, so no, we didn't print the magnet. But this is a doorstop, and at first we were thinking, but now that we've made a few of them, we're very happy with the result. Although someone's going to need to hit this and embed it. This can't be sticking out off the back.
Mm-hmm.
So, little things that we learned.
Yeah, I know.
So let's see. You can see the finish on it, and there, I'll get you a little surface finish. And that's unretouched. It's just right off the printer.
There you go.
So, all right.
Yep.
So,
Perfect.
Sale of banana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one turned out nice.
Yeah, the infill I believe was the same on both of these guys, which is roughly about 35 to 40%, if I'm not mistaken.
That's not a honeycomb. That's the problem. That's a Hilbert or something else.
Yep.
So,
Although a lot of the it's funny, so a lot of the honeycomb when it goes up to 70, it really looks like this.
this block was not printed with Davo pads. That was the thing. Had it been printed with Davo pads, it would have been even flatter. So we're just showing that without a heated chamber, we wouldn't have been able to be successful at completing the block.
Because it would have lifted up something serious.
Right.
So that's really flat.
Yeah. So use honeycomb 35%. You can go as low as 15% with pretty good results on a block like this. But I think we all just adopted 35%. Seems to be pretty happy. The print speed is between 15 and 1800. You go above 1800, and the zigzag patterns, it's functional, but the finish isn't so nice. So it's depending on what you're trying to do. And then I like to print at 230. Other people are printing at 240 for their ABS. I think it depends on personal preference. If you're getting delamination where your layers are splitting apart, raise your temperature 10 degrees and continue on, or try it again.
Yep.
If you don't like the texture, sometimes the temperature when it gets hot gives a little bit of a bad texture. Run 20% fan as you're printing. That'll give you a good thing. That'll help you with your bridging and make a lot cleaner start and stop as well.
So ERS, DDS, slow down, travel, raise, cooling, or both. You're going to have to play with it just a little bit depending upon what it is that you're trying to make. So if they're little itty bitty spires, I would definitely say slow it down
And blow.
a lot. If it's one simple layer, like we were going to print this guy like this, where you've just got the smallest amount right there, slow it down and blow probably about 60%. And your speed wise, you're probably going to want to go down to roughly about 600 millimeters per minute, which is roughly about 10 millimeters per second. It's quite slow, but the results that you're looking for should come out actually quite nicely.
You just do that at the fine detail part, so you can
Yes.
print regular speed up to there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, a regular infill geometry, in my opinion, is the way to go. The reason is twofold. One, it's very good on the printer because even though it's moving in a zigzag pattern, it's not so. And you're going to end up with a very uniform stress-strain relationship throughout the part, which means uniform shrinkage or contraction, and that's going to give you the best or least amount of distortion in the part.
ERSCDS, you asked a fantastic question. The difference between the brim and the Davo pads in the end result
Spelling.
is huge. It is huge. Let me bring out this part there so I can show you. So what happens is with a brim, for those people who don't know what a brim is, taking the Davo pads that you see right here, if you were to have a brim goes over and around by the certain specified amount all the way around. The problem is that when you actually have a brim that goes along that particular edge, when this shrinks, the Davo pads by themselves, because they're circular geometry-wise, they'll actually shrink evenly into themselves. A brim by itself will actually pull, and when it pulls, it actually will have more pressure to actually lift up and pull on this side more than you would actually believe. So, but that's just the science. That's just the science behind this. We've noticed that several times whenever we printed with a brim, that on the longer spaces like this, it's even worse when it comes to it lifting off of your actual build surface. So please use these Davo pads, these frog fingers, these 3D stamps wherever you have corners and horizontals, stuff like that. So it's also not a bad idea that on a longer piece that you're printing right here to have another one on or in between on these longer stretches to actually keep it down, so you have a little bubble like right there. So little things like that, you know, help with definitely with the success of your print. So great question.
There's a fabrication technique that's used extensively in industry, especially aerospace, where they take and they silk screen dots, little tiny dots of epoxy over the two surfaces that are to be mated. They never let the epoxy form a solid web.
Oh, I've seen that before.
And the reason for that is the coefficient of expansion of the epoxy is significantly more than the aluminum they're bonding to.
Ah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the stress is located in a microscopic way, not pulling over a meter, and it's containable or maintainable, and they have very good results with that. So the concept there is the same as the brim versus the Davo pads. Davo pads have localized stress, and the brim pulls like a tendon over a long distance, and it will exert a much larger shear force on it, just pop it right up. So, I think you guys don't know, well, some of you know, because some of you talk to me all the time, but we've been really got the snorkel on the last couple of weeks trying to get this next release of software out the door, and as usual, I'm adding more features to it, but one thing that's come out of the last week's efforts is we're now dealing with the mesh at a level we never were able to deal with before. And so we should be able to auto-detect, maybe not on this release, but on the next release, the corners and actually automatically paste down the Davo pads, place them for them.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think that'll be good. Another thing that we've got going, I know Ken up in Canada, a million thank yous for what you did to help us out with the FreeCAD scripting calls, and we actually were able to download the source and compile FreeCAD, and that was non-trivial. We actually got some external help for that, and the bottom line is that the meshes are now becoming much friendlier to our objectives. So the whole idea is to be able to take the 2D world and the 3D world and mix them together so that we can add images, laser marks, engraving, drilling, milling, additive manufacturing, stereolithography, and do it in such a way that when we're doing it, it's not so confusing. It's like making a sandwich. You go to the refrigerator, here's a piece of bread. Hey, look, let's put some ketchup on. Let's get a tomato. How about a salami slice and some onions? You can tell I haven't had enough to eat for dinner anyway. So the idea is as simple as it is to make a sandwich, it should be to build a complicated part. If you had to do all the G-code and stuff like that, you would be drooling and we'd be in white jackets and no one would have any fun. So after the last 15 years of programming my CNC, I can tell you that I avoid it like the plague unless I have the right tools for the job, and the software makes everything happen. So that's where we're at now. We've set the structure up, and right now DXF, drill, G-code, and STL meshes and text all are working and playing together quite well. And we have about 2 more things that will be added to it before I release it. But that, coupled with all the bugs that we found or identified, the not a number thing, and I actually ran into that today again. So, but not on the 407. Many of you have found a mesh that didn't look like a mesh when you loaded it. Well, one of the things that came out of all this due diligence, hard work, is that we found where it actually finds, and what it's doing is it gets back 2 different possibilities. One is not a number, and the other one is an infinite number, infinity and beyond. Buzz Lightyear numbers.
Yes.
So the problem is that you get a number like that, the slicer has no clue how it would interpret it. And so before it was just logging it, but now I put a message box on. So if you load an STL, there'll be no uncertainty. You have to respond. It will tell you this mesh has this kind of problem with it. And I'm actually, now that we can do the calls, I will ask you if you want us to try and repair it for you. And I actually will give a checkbox in the settings to say that it just auto repairs. It just informs you and does it. Good things.
ERS, DDS, video pads only available if using Slicer in Repertrail?
No, they're an STL object. You can load them on any of the slicers.
And inside of what you have, inside of all of everything that's gone out, if you're looking on the printer, we have already included all of those on there, which you go to your root C directory, then 3D printer files and G-code, STL and G-code, and then you'll see 3D print stamps. And then in that file directory are all of those guys. I'll get with Davo, and we'll also put them up online. So if you guys want to, don't want to take it off the machine as it's working or whatever it's doing, we'll have it up online so you guys can download them and go forward from there. So yes, and A9K 368. It's Alan.
Nice.
Where are you slicing? Not on the printer. Actually, we have been slicing on the printer.
Yeah, but let me let you guys know something. One of the early versions of Repetier host and Repetrel actually did not disable the recalculations, and so of the graphics. So it was eating a lot of CPU time. The next release, there is no calculations going on for graphics when it's slicing. It is just slicing. So in one case we found a 6x performance increase. So
that's awesome.
It's not bad, and we're looking at ways to speed that up also. So
on top of that, guys, on the newest version of Repetrel, along with Slicer, the recipes are going to change. So when we push out the latest version from 1.85, which is what everybody else out there has, to 2.0 and beyond.
It might be 2.2. I just passed 2.11 today.
Okay. We're going to be bumping some changes inside the slicer recipe. So some of the small things that are going to be changing inside of there is just going to be on the custom G-code area. Now, if you open up the slicer configuration file, you go over to where it says printer, for the printer file, for the printer tab, and then you'll see the custom G-code area. So a little bit of that is changing. So that's just the differences between 1.85 and the next version. Yes.
Actually,
am I wrong? Did I speak too soon?
You know what?
Sorry.
I will make a training video out of the next broadcast because I'll go through it. basically every STL object you load, you can define the recipes independently.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And so you right click and up comes a dialog box, which is the properties of that STL, and you can tell it, you know, anything you want. You can do a Z layer height. You can tell it to use these other recipes for slicing, and I have the ability to put it right now both in waterline and in parallel mode, where waterline is where I'm running multiple Z's and I do the interception of the G code.
Oh yeah.
And the other one is what comes straight out of the slicer.
Okay. That was a little more than what we wanted to share this
No,
time.
it's fine. Hey, if you can write the code based on what I just said, I want to hire you, sucker.
So, but what I was just getting to is going from just doing a simple print. So.
Every STL object has its own recipe. You can use the same recipe. It's no problem for every object. And I allow you to group them together or run them individually.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. So cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So we're still printing on that guy, which is great. So just printing another cover for a printer that's going to be going out the door soon.
Hey, did you show them the microscope?
I have not.
Why don't you grab it? That's another thing. You know, we got this guy John here, and it's been a real pleasure working with him. John came from he's a mechanical engineer, and he had his own personal. I'm not going to say love. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I would say warm spot in his heart for 3D printing, and he came to us as a blessing, and he's been coming up with new things. One of the things he's been working on the last couple of weeks is many different variations of the brush cleaner, and actually got one this week that I thought was getting close to functional. So we'll see how that goes. As soon as we have it, it'll be good. But he came up with this really cool design, and so John, if you're watching, and even if you're not, he came through and created a pattern, and this is as it came off the printer. I don't know if we can get this up to where.
Yeah, we can.
There. You see the ridges in there? So what he did was, this is a series of fingers that are more, I can't do it. My guitar playing skills are good, but not that good. So anyway, there are a series of fingers that are pointing down, so as this comes down, it's literally pushing and then they grab. So when you go to insert it, and it has a nice friction fit, doesn't go anywhere, but you can get it in and out by just pulling it. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive what he did. And that's a nice printed part, and he nailed the gibs on this one. This one, the gibs came out perfect, yeah. And by the way, this is a printed part that's completely unretouched. This just comes off the printer. So if anybody wants a sample, I'm not claiming that we're the best. I know that there is room to improve. What I'm trying to do is give an accurate representation of what we're currently able to do. So this is a slow turn on a part, and it'll give you an idea. So, you know, and you know, if that's meets your needs, that's great. Anyway, the guys who've ordered the inspectors, we have them all in here, and that's one group of back orders that's hitting the road this week.
Yep.
So we're so happy to say that. We've shipped a lot of Emo 25s. We're filling a lot of back orders. We hope to have them all wiped out, I think, this month. And yeah, it's been good.
So, Carol Rogue says, newbie question. Sometimes when I slice my STL file on the printer, parts of the object are removed. Is that my poor 3D CAD skills, or is the slicer? The object looks correct in the STL viewer.
I have this saying I've tried to teach Davo and Hutch here. If you don't send me the file, I can't give you advice. Now, why would that be? I don't know. You just gave me some words to describe something that's 15 megabytes. I have no clue what you're really doing. And we would love to tell you yes, no, maybe, but that's all you're going to get is a yes, no, maybe. If you want concrete stuff, we read our emails, we will load it, we will look at it, and Davo will come and bug me to get an answer if necessary. Please. Bye, Greg. Thanks for joining us. But please send us a G-code and an STL file. Then we'll load it, slice it with our recipes, and you'll find out whether it's a recipe phenomena, a slicer phenomena. And we print every day. We print stuff for people every day as a cross-check. So don't hesitate to send us something if you're having trouble with it, because we want you to be successful. And we can't help you if we don't have the information to work with. So, shoot us the files.
Let's see. ERSDDS asks, so you can change heads or colors with different STLs.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
A9K36. You know what? I'm just going to call you AK from here.
There you go.
I've seen in the viewer top of an object cut off, but the model and G-code is okay. Just the viewer can't handle it.
Yeah, if it's big, the viewer will cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
In the old software. The new software, I can read a 150 megabyte file, no problem.
So that's going from 1.85 to the current version, yeah. Or the newest version. The current version is 1.85, sorry.
2 plus. We're going to 2 plus on the next rev. I will not say what the final release number will be.
Okay. Hey, Carlberg, yeah, so print would be correct even if the viewer shows it wrong. Yeah. So, yeah. So thank you, AK and A. Carlberg, for going through that. So.
Yeah, we had a lot of roadblocks on the last revision of software. It was a major quantum leap forward, but the viewing especially was limited by the RAM, and so we've had to do a lot of things to make it so that we can view much larger items. And I'm happy to report that it's working pretty well. Like the Statue of Liberty type thing, doesn't cause me any trouble. That used to blow us out of the water. I'm only at 320 megabytes with it loaded, and a couple other guys loaded at the same time. So
that's a huge improvement.
yeah, it was 1.8 gigs, 1.8 gigs on my Core 7, which was not possible to have that much RAM available on a 2 gigabyte system. So yeah, so we've had good success with that. All right, so. We appreciate everybody taking the time to check in with us. If you got any more questions, throw them our way. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're going to call it a night. I got a little coding to do, and Hutch has got to get back and get his beauty sleep. But we're always happy that you guys have checked in with us, and we appreciate very much the continued involvement. We'll send a letter out when our third-party associate has the heater stuff ready. They're sending us a couple of what they consider to be production parts, and we're going to test them for them. And if they pass, then we'll just bless it, and they'll put it together and make it available to you guys.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And if you guys have any questions, anything else beyond, send us an email at hyrel3d@gmail.com, and either myself or Dave will send it to us, or send it to Carl, myself, or whoever. So, thank you. Crank that 2 plus.
What is 2 plus?
Thank you, AK. Rip the drum.
Oh yeah. Trust me. Okay. I'll share something on last note.
Okay.
I don't think my son's ever watched these broadcasts lately, but he's been working programming with us, and I conceive this stuff, but he really is the programmer. He knows the .NET platform inside and out. So while I'm cranking out the concept, he's looking over my shoulder, correcting all of my syntax mistakes. However, when he started helping us again about 4 months ago, he put us on Subversion, which we had it 2 years ago, but then it blew up on us, and I didn't want to maintain it. It has saved my bacon so many times. So Dan, if you ever watch this broadcast in public, your dad's telling you, thank you very, 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 very much, because I have reverted 7 times in the last 2 days, and anybody who's coded understands what's going on. I'm trying to move completely out of all the repetier viewing and into our own viewing, and I keep getting so close and then breaking it, as in avalanche and the snowfall type thing. So we're almost there. Anyway, blessings on all you guys. Thanks again.
Yes, thank you very much, and to everybody who has whoever has a wife, thank you for letting you take some of your time, and happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all your mothers that are out there, and those who are with us and those who are not.
Happy Mother's Day, Linda and Connie. Bye-bye.